We're rocking and rolling here. So I'd like to once again welcome everybody to this office hours live virtual Q&A about entrepreneurship and self-employment for neurodivergent professionals. Today, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Veronica Yao, and I am a career coach for neurodivergent professionals for atypical careers. You might know me already through my Facebook group. In fact, I'm sure that's where most of you have found me. It is called Neurodivergent Careers and Job Hunting, which I will drop in the comments a little bit later if you'd like to join. But I'm so excited to be bringing this to you. We do these once a month with different topics. We've done interviewing before. I did a workshop on resumes before. So definitely stay tuned, for what we have coming up. But as for today, I would love to introduce our guest expert, Genesis Rose, who is the business development coach and founder of Sustain Your Passion. Genesis, I would love to turn it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to pop some links in the chat. So if you want to get connected with me on different socials, take your pick. I'm kind of everywhere online. So my name is Genesis. As mentioned, I started my business 6 years ago after about 2 years of considering it, dreaming about it, and honestly being really scared to get started with any one thing. And from that commitment, though, 6 years ago, I've now completely replaced my full-time income. I made over 6 figures last year in my business. I have figured out a way to actually sustain my passion for helping others by leveraging my education and experience that I came into entrepreneurship with, and then finding a niche for myself in the wild west of entrepreneurship. And so thankfully, it's been a deep passion of mine to stay committed to this, or else I wouldn't have made it this far. Entrepreneurship is totally a mindset game. And nowadays I run my signature program called Passion to Paychecks. It's all about helping brand new entrepreneurs make their first online sale and learn all of the bits and pieces of marketing and branding and offer development in a community of like-minded neurodivergent professionals that are also building their own businesses and branching out into entrepreneurship. The free ways that I support folks are through my podcast. That would be the last link that I just put in there. And you can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or even my website. You can head over there and listen to episodes. I actually have one with Veronica talking about her success in the Facebook group that she's been curating, probably where most of you heard about this talk. And then I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I occasionally play on TikTok, but I don't know about y'all, but with my neurodivergent brain, I get way more distracted by it than I do good work on it. But you can find me kind of anywhere. I am a big fan of building connections and making my community larger through my work. And the heart and soul of my mission with Sustain Your Passion is helping people align what they do with who they truly are, so that they're not constantly at this edge of burnout because they're in a role and in a lifestyle that just doesn't fit for who they are at their core, and they feel kind of stuck and unsure of which way to go next. A lot of my education and experience that makes me good at this is that I have a master's of education where I specialize in program development. So that's the piece that really helps me package people's skills into an offer that they can go out and market, whether that's actually, building their own business or looking for even self-employment type roles. It's all the same process of getting to know who you are and then aligning that with a vision and then going out and finding people that also connect with your mission. And then previous to that, I earned a honors Bachelor of Science in Psychology, where I studied mentorship. So alongside all of this, I also have a research and writing career. I currently have a book that is coming out this year called Liberationships. It showcases the mentorship theory for women of color that I co-developed with my co-researcher and co-author. And it is the best accomplishment of my career so far. And it's actually why I have it tattooed on my arm, because it is just a full, 10 years of research coming out into a book. And it's kind of surreal to be here. But speaking to one of the comments we heard earlier, it is really scary to get started as an entrepreneur, to call yourself an entrepreneur, to feel like you could handle the work of self-employment. And so it is just such an honor to be here and share about my journey and answer lots of questions, because I'm going to be speaking on behalf of not only myself and my experience, but also all of the clients I've been nurturing with their careers and their businesses for the last 6 years. So hopefully I've got some good wisdom to share, and I am so happy to answer any question. I know we've got some pre-submitted ones, but I'd also love to engage with you all in the chat, and there'll be some opportunities for follow-ups later too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. And, I know that you're going to have wisdom to share, like, absolutely, because, I've heard it before. We've collaborated together before, and, it's fantastic. So let's start off with the first pre-submitted question here. And once again, for anybody who's just joining us, welcome to Office Hours. And if you have any questions in particular that you would like Genesis to answer, please drop them in the chat, and I will do my best to get through that and make sure that we address everything within the hour that we have together today. Now, the first question here is, how can I know if self-employment is right for me? And this is a very common question. I'm sure it will apply to a lot of us here. So Genesis, take it away.
Yeah, so for me personally, I'm going to answer, what my journey was like, and then I'm going to speak more broadly. So for me personally, I knew self-employment was right for me because I could not stop dreaming of being my own boss. I had a fantastic boss at the time. I had a lovely team. I was working in higher ed, which is one of the most inclusive environments you can find. And especially for neurodivergent brains, like most of us were neurodivergent. So I had a lot of support, and I was pretty much as happy as I could be in a job. And what I ended up realizing was that I was still longing for more, and I couldn't get paid more at my job to do more. They kind of capped out, right? They were like, you could do more things, but we can't pay you more for those things, right? And I was recognizing I had more energy. I had more to give. And I didn't want to go get another job because I wasn't really trying to do just anything somebody told me to do. I really wanted to do more in things that I was really passionate about. And so I told my boss about it. I was really upfront with him, like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. I think it's going to be pretty similar to the work we do here with our population, which at the time I was advising undecided students on what major they might want to pick based on their career goals. And so I decided to start my own coaching business online and was telling them about it. And we made it clear, like, how to do that, how to not be competing with them and whatnot. But really, it came down to the fact that I just kept longing to do more work and I didn't want to not get paid for it. And so that was my personal story of how I knew that self-employment was probably right for me, was that I had more energy to give. I was passionate about a thing I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do it for someone else anymore. I was really excited about the opportunity of getting to challenge myself in this new way and get to make all the rules. Like, honestly, it really comes down to, I didn't want to follow another person or organization's rule set on top of the job I already had, but I knew I had more energy to give. And so I wanted to start creating my own thing because I saw that the skill set I had in my job could be helpful for people outside of that work. Because the idea of figuring out what the right career is for you isn't something you do once and then you're done with it. We cycle through that over and over again in our lives. And it was really funny to me that I would go and, table for these events where I would be talking to the freshman students, and their parents would be coming and asking me for career advice. And I was like, oh yeah, like, there's a lot of humans outside of the higher ed environment that could use this type of support. And so all of that added up to me branching out into my own self-employment journey. But a couple other things I would say that I've seen people consider when making this decision about if it's right for them is really, do you have the ability to hold yourself accountable? That is a really important skill set for self-employment. And it may not even be hold yourself accountable to, like, I'm going to consistently post every day. I'm going to go network with someone, every Friday. It may not even be goals like that. It might just be, can you hold yourself accountable to your vision? If you decide, hey, I want to branch out in this way, I'm really passionate about this niche, I want to help people in this way, like, once you get clarity on what you want to do, you really got to get real with yourself and ask, is this something I'm going to follow through on? Is this something I'm deeply committed to and passionate about? Because there's a reason why I don't know if y'all have heard this, but there's kind of this, like, story out there in society that most new businesses close in 5 years. And the thing that I've witnessed, and the reason why I believe that my brand sustained that and passed that 5-year mark, is because of my dedication to the work I was doing and my own ability to stay accountable to the vision that I had of being able to help people in a bigger way. And that was so deeply meaningful to me that even on the days that I was exhausted and didn't really want to take that coaching call that somebody paid for, I was able to get very excited again and show up fully lit up because I knew why I was doing what I was doing. And I was so deeply connected to the mission of the work. And that literally reignited my passion for doing it over and over and over again, because there is a lot of things that will happen in one's business journey that kind of could be taken as a reason to not pursue self-employment. Things like, not getting a client as fast as you want, or not getting as many, responses on your emails, or figuring out that your Facebook ad account got banned and now you don't know what your marketing strategy is, which happened to me. Like, there's all sorts of challenges, but really, I think it comes down to, can you stay accountable to the vision that you've set for yourself? And then does that sustain you when you're tired? And if not, I think self-employment could be really fucking hard. I'm going to cuss on this. Is that okay, Veronica?
I think that's okay.
Okay. I was going to say, I can try not to, but like, it's going to be harder. And it can be really hard then if you don't have the stamina it takes to stay self-directed, to stay accountable to your vision, and know that even on the hard days, it's worth it, and really being connected to your why. All the other things you can learn, like in terms of self-employment, and marketing and finding clients and, figuring out bookkeeping and taxes and stuff like that. There are resources upon resources to learn those technical pieces. But the one thing that I cannot teach a new entrepreneur is how to stay accountable to their own mission and how to be connected enough to their vision that they are willing to sustain all of those learning blocks and learning curves that come with it. So I think, in short, if I was giving a TLDR, sorry, too long, didn't read it. It's a Reddit acronym. My answer to how can I know if self-employment is right for me would really be, do you have a vision that you are connected enough to sustain all of the roadblocks that will likely show up? And if you can say yes to that, then fuck yeah, like, let's build your business. That's great.
Absolutely. And, I would just add one little thing onto that from my own experience when I was trying to decide, because as some of you guys know, that I was a marketing manager for almost 10 years before I decided to start my own career coaching business. And for years, I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. And I always knew that, but I just never thought that I had the skills or the experience necessary to sustain me through those hard times. Well, when I finally got, I was unfortunately let go from a position that I actually did love. And I realized my choices were, should I put my limited time and energy into finding another job that I love as much as the one that I had before? Or am I going to take this energy and this time and this opportunity to go and pursue what I've wanted to do for years? And I think that, since then I haven't looked back. I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. And that may be true for some of you on this call, right? And you're going to know if this vision, as Genesis said, is going to be enough to sustain you through the hard times. Because for me, I know that whenever I'm feeling blocked or, discouraged or something like that, I always think back to my main motivation and my main reason for doing what I do, so that I can set myself up for success, so that I can have the stability in my life, so that I will have the space to help other people that I love and do the things that I'm passionate about. And so that finding that why is going to be very important for sure.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's move on to the next question here. What is the first step you recommend that aspiring entrepreneurs should take?
Yeah, I think that it's I hope I don't upset anyone with saying this. It's one of those like contentious things out there. For me, the first step is getting clear on your niche. And I hate that word so much. Sometimes I say it niche. I don't like the word, but basically getting really clear on who you want to help do what. And that could be true whether you're trying to start a nail salon business, right? Like, I want to help people who like getting their nails done weekly feel beautiful because they have their nails done. Or I want to help new coaches sell their first $1,000 program. Like, I just want every person that's aspiring to be an entrepreneur to really fill out the template of I help. I'm going to put this in the chat so you can borrow this. Who do, achieve, create, become, whatever. What? Oh, and there's a little typo. Oh, well. So basically, you want to get clear on who you want to help, right? Because that's identifying your target audience, and then what you want to help them do. And that's defining your business's mission, basically. And from there, everything becomes so much easier. So when you're asking yourself questions like, should I be on this platform or that platform to find clients? Where are your ideal clients? Like, if I should be offering this version or that version of my offer, what does that person want? And once you have the clarity of who it is that you feel most called to help and what you feel most called to help them with, from there, all the rest of the decisions you have to make become so much easier. And largely this overlaps with what I was just saying before about really knowing your vision and your mission, which comes down to who you're helping and how you're helping them. And so I would love to see any of the ideas that y'all here on the call have. Like, if you were to borrow that template that I just put in the chat of I help who, do, be, achieve, become, go, whatever, like insert a verb, right? So I help who, verb, and then what you want to help them with. I would just love to see your first drafts of what your niche statement could be. And then if we've got some time at the end, we can discuss some of them, but getting your thoughts clear on who you want to help and how you want to help them is the very first step. It's not picking your business name. It's not getting registered with your state. It's not getting, licensed. It's not starting a website. It's not picking brand colors. It's not any of the fun shit. It's the really, really difficult part of curating down a very clear mission of why you're even starting entrepreneurship in the first place, by answering, what do you want to do with your commitment to entrepreneurship? What are you going to do with all that time you're going to give to your business? Who are you going to be talking to? And what are you going to be talking to them about? And from there, everything else becomes a whole lot easier to understand and start making decisions about like where you should be marketing or how much you should be, marketing your things for, even, because it all comes back to who you're trying to serve. And so if you wanted to know like what this would be rolled up into, it's called branding. And so feel free to, for anybody else that really likes going and reading all the things, find branding books, how to brand your personal brand, how to brand your business. That is the first step to making sure that you know like what you're here to do. And now, of course, it can change, right? I pivoted my niche at least twice, plus a bunch of micro changes along the way, but like 2 big changes in the last 6 years. But that's the beauty of having clarity and knowing how to find clarity on what you are here to do, is that you can do it again and again and again, and it's going to just continue to keep you focused. And with neurodivergence, I don't know about y'all, but like I personally have ADHD, OCD, and PTSD, and my ADHD wants to send me in 50 different directions every day. I have a to-do list right here that I would love to get through most days, but that ADHD says, look at this shiny object. What about that idea? I'm considering becoming a fucking tattoo artist right now. Like, I don't know why. ADHD says to look at it, right? But whenever I can recenter back on who am I here to help right now and what do I want to help them with, it gets me focused again, and it helps me not get burnt out by trying to do everything. It keeps me focused on my mission. So I would say the very first step is getting clear on who you want to help and what you want to help them do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And just a reminder for everybody, Genesis has put the structure in the chat. I help blank people who do, achieve, create, or become, and then the what there. So for example, I guess for me, mine would be I help neurodivergent professionals, build more sustainable work lives, without burnout. That's what I personally do. And I can see some people popping their own in the comments there. So definitely take a moment and try and do that exercise and share it with us if you like in the comments. We do have one submitted question here that I'd love to share from Ashley. And the question is, any advice if you are dealing with neurodivergent burnout and not sure what your audience should be? What do you make of that?
Yeah, so the very first thing I want to call out is that should. So Ashley, the beauty of entrepreneurship and self-employment is there's no shoulds anymore. And so that's a really common thought process, though, that I see people get hiccuped up. Like, that was a weird way of saying hiccuped. That's not a word, right? Like, we don't say that. Where did that come from? That people get stumbled on or that people get blocked by is this idea that there is some external right answer to who they should be serving in their business, as if there was a way to look back and say, well, all of this adds up to this thing I'm supposed to do. And I want to reframe that a little bit and ask you, who do you want your audience to be? Because you really do get to pick. And I could have you, consider, well, who are you? Who have you been helping? What achievements do you have? Things like that, right? And we could brainstorm a big, long list of all the things you could do. But at the end of the day, that should decider is going to come from what lights you up the most. What are you most excited about? And who do you want to actually be serving? Because if you don't have a strong calling to the work you're aligning yourself with through self-employment and entrepreneurship, as mentioned earlier, like, you're going to burn out again. And so really what we want to do here, especially with neurodivergent burnout, often what is happening in that space that I've witnessed is that people are doing a lot of shit they don't want to do. And they don't know how to not do the shit they don't want to do because they feel stuck, right? You're in a job and you don't know how to find another job. You are under a manager that you really dislike, but you don't know how to set boundaries with. You've got a coworker that micromanages you, but you don't know how to communicate about that to your boss. There's something going on that's making you feel that, like, I just need to get out, right? And then that's creating the burnout, because life is fucking hard as a neurodivergent person. Like, socializing is hard. Keeping your home clean is hard. Going to work every day is hard. Like, all of the quote unquote, like, normal activities of life are really fucking hard. And feeling like you don't have agency and choice makes the burnout exasperated. It's almost like all of those little pains of, I couldn't articulate what I meant to say in that, or, oh, that person took the thing the wrong way, are like little sticks in a campfire ring. And then you add on the feeling of, well, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And that just sets the whole thing on fire. And then you're stuck in burnout, because at that point you end up feeling stuck. And so what I would really want to focus on first with you, Ashley, is encouraging you to dream and to give yourself the gift of choice of who do you want your audience to be. And now once we are on board with that together, right? Once you're like, well, yeah, that's what I want to pick, right? I'm starting a business that I'm gonna, enjoy, right? That's the point of carving out my own niche in the world, in the marketplace. I want to like my customers. I want to like my job. Then we can start asking things like, who do you like working with the most? And what do you like helping them with? And if you wanted to, walk that down a little bit further, I would ask you, what past job experiences do you have that you really enjoyed? And what customers were you helping then? And why did you like them? And I wouldn't want you to tell me things like, oh, they were really friendly. I would want you to dig into psychological factors, like they were driven to read the same way that I was because we both have a love for learning. They were really kind and compassionate because they also value human connection. And then we could start articulating that, oh, your audience is going to be similar to you in that they value learning by reading and they value human connection. And then we might start seeing these deeper psychological factors than the typical, like, oh, I help like women that are 35 or something like that. Because realistically, that level of detail about your audience is only helpful if you're running ads. Otherwise, you're probably going to be needing to speak to people a lot and articulate why you care to help them. And a good, strong founder story is what people connect to the most when you are one of a dozen people they could choose to work with. And that comes from shifting from I should be helping people because of XYZ to I genuinely want to serve this population. And so I hope that helps get you started thinking about taking that ownership back of you get to pick. And I hope that feels freeing and not too scary. And then there's that second follow-up task of, okay, so once I feel like I get to pick, right? And that's exciting that I get to pick and not overwhelming or scary, then let yourself dream and have fun with it, because otherwise you're just going to repeat the cycles of employment before, where you end up in that stuck space of lack of choice. Did that help, Ashley? Can I see a comment of like how that's working? Okay, it does. Thank you. Nice.
Amazing. And I think a lot of other people in the comments right now are saying that they relate to what you say. So it really clearly it's resonating. Okay. And yeah, we have another question here from Emma. Why is speaking to others so difficult when it comes to new people? So I'm sure you see this a lot with your clients. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Perception and fears of other people's perceptions of us. So my understanding of, without talking to you deeper, right, about what is the difficult that you're talking about there? Is it literally verbally, like verbalizing your thoughts? Is it the presence of others, like witnessing you? Looking at that, I would need to know more. And that's something that like I'd love to discuss with you after this call. But in general, let me speak to the general sentiment. I have found that it's typically because we're really afraid of what other people are going to think of us, and our sense of identity is not strongly rooted enough to withstand that pushback of other people not understanding us. And that, as a neurodivergent person, especially as a late diagnosed neurodivergent person that was not raised with a support system that said, hey, you're different and that's okay, we operate as adults with the belief, and most of us, right, I'm not trying to give a blanket statement, but like most of us operate with the belief, I am different and that is bad. And that sucks. Like that fucking sucks, because it keeps us from actually showing up in our fullness and getting the opportunity to be appreciated for who we actually are, right? We're always tailoring, we're always hiding, we're trying to fit in, right? We're trying to walk this tightrope, we're walking on eggshells, because we've experienced being rejected. We've experienced being told we're weird. We've experienced being told we're too much, or whatever bullshit, mean things kids said to us that are still in there, right? And so now as adults, we show up and when I talk to people, whether it's an interview or even a space like this, right? Like the way that I'm navigating this is that I know who I am. I know my intentions are good. I know that I'm showing up with an open heart. I'm being honest and I'm doing my very best to offer what I can to this space. That is my line of boundary of what I can control and what's actually mine to manage. All of you, right? All 13 or whatever people that are listening right now and all the people on the recording, y'all's perception of me is not actually any of my business. It's not my problem. I can't control it. It's going to be very different person to person, right? Like I'm seeing some comments that are like, this resonates. I love it. There might be someone on this call that's sitting there like writing hate mail about me. I don't know why you'd be here still. That seems like a silly use of your time. But like showing up online, I get hated on all the time. Like I get nasty comments all the time. And yet neither the I love you so much, this is so helpful, or the I hate you, why are you creating content type of comment, it doesn't actually infiltrate like my bubble of myself, because my perception of me is positive. And therefore, whatever anyone else's is just an opinion. It's not the truth, right? Because I'm the owner of the truth of who I am. I'm the only person that's with me in every situation I'm in my life. And so I'm the only one that could tell you who I am, right? And so if somebody else derives a perception of me that doesn't actually align with the goodness that I show up with and the good intentions that I show up to spaces with, that's on them. That's not actually about me. And the other thing about like psychology and the way that we listen to people is I could say the same sentence. Okay, we're going to do this, right? I'm drinking a Diet Coke, right? I could say that same sentence. And everyone in this room is going to have different neural pathways triggered by me saying I am drinking a Diet Coke. Some of you are going to think of Aunt Sally and her ice cubes that she swirls in her cup. Some of you are going to picture a McDonald's Diet Coke because you know it's the best. It's the best. Some of you are going to be like, I don't fucking care. right? You all are going to react differently to a single sentence I might say. It's just how brains work. It's just how perception works. So for me, it's really important to remember that as long as I showed up with good intentions, my impact is not for me to decide. But if somebody is hurt or harmed, it is their job to let me know, right? And then we can adjust and correct and find alignment. But until somebody tells me there's a problem with who I am, I don't need to know. I really don't need to know. I don't need to worry about it. And realistically, even if they had a problem with me, like I can just think about like a post I made where somebody like left 11 comments that were so mean and like messaged me like 14 times. It was fucking nuts. Like if I were to have attached to their perception of me more than my perception of me, I would have been feeling really fucking bad, right? I would have been bought into their story of who I am, and I would have spent all day reeling about it. But I had to draw that boundary and say, that's not me. That's you projecting your shit on me. And I don't have time for that. My goals are bigger. My mission's too important to entertain whatever you're trying to spew on me. And that, again, comes back to my very first point of like, you got to be really fucking connected to your why because it is hard to deal with other people's perceptions and, you know, going out there and talking to new people without a clear, this is who I am, this is why I'm here, and that's good, right? Like I value my intentions enough to prioritize it over random people's perceptions, especially if we're talking about like online business at all. You never fucking know who's going to see your shit. So it really is a self-love game. Emma, does that help?
Yeah, that does help to a certain degree. I think you may have lost me. I saw something shiny and I got lost.
Fair enough. This is being recorded. Maybe you can listen to it again later.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. And we will be sending out a recording of this video once I have a chance to process it and upload it and everything like that. So don't worry about that. Just sit back and relax. We do have 2 more questions in the chat, so I'd love to get to those while we still have time. Tara asks, any advice about managing social anxiety to show up confidently on social media to promote your business?
Yes. Oh my God. So many thoughts and advice on this. First and foremost, I'm hosting a free content challenge at the end of this month. So if you are trying to create more content to get clients for your business, follow me on socials so you can hear about that free challenge. Second, advice. Okay. You're not going to like this one.
What is the question that we're looking
in the
at?
chat. Hey, Emma, it's in the chat. It's Tara's question. Any advice about managing social anxiety to show up confidently on social media to promote your business? Right?
That's correct.
Okay. So with that one, check out the challenge. Second, you're not going to like this answer, but okay, there's 2 ways of getting around this block of confidence. The first is lots of mindset work. We could probably track back to every past experience you've had where somebody made you feel less than. We could uproot every story you have about your worthiness. We could identify every negative self-belief you have, and we could work on those through, you know, essentially CBT or rewriting your beliefs. That takes a long time. It's valuable work. It needs to be done. It could be done in a therapist's office or with a coach or a best friend and a bottle of wine. I don't care. Do that work, right? It should be done. It takes a long time though. So the faster way is to just do it. And that's like the hardest answer, is that realistically, we could work on your mindset all day long. And once you hit post, you're gonna see how you feel. And I have this quote I say a lot, or this lesson I try to impart, which is that oftentimes we're looking for confidence when we aren't ready to feel confident. What we're actually looking for is courage, because confidence comes after courage. Think about the last time you did a thing that made you feel confident. You were probably pretty nervous about doing it beforehand. And what got you to actually do it was courage, not confidence, because it's not fair to yourself to ask yourself to be confident posting online to promote your business when you don't have any lived experience that shows you that's safe to feel confident in. That's almost asking yourself to have a false belief of confidence. Like, you don't You don't have to feel confident to do it, but you do have to be courageous. And what I find is actually the step before courage is clarity. And so oftentimes what I end up seeing when I really break it down with people and I see, okay, we've got these mindset blocks, we've got these fears, right? But then once we clear out some of that, then I ask them, okay, if all of that was gone, what are you going to post today? And you know what they almost always say? I don't know. And that's where I'm like, yeah, it's because typically it goes clarity, then courage, then confidence. Because what we're actually looking for is just clarity to know, wait, what am I supposed to be doing anyway? So that then I can go and do the thing and see how it goes. And most neurodivergent professionals that I have experienced with, like, they just like clear directions. They just want to know what to do to get an A, and then they're going to do it. And that takes clarity. And if you don't know what to talk about to promote your business, well, then that makes sense why we're spending so much time being worried about what's going to happen on the other side of it, because we're actually avoiding trying to do the task of creating the content in the first place. And so that's where I branched it at the beginning of, like, we could do all the mindset work, or you could just try it, right? And then once you just try it, you kind of trick your brain into witnessing confidence that, oh shit, I did it. And it wasn't that scary. And it worked. Somebody saw it. Somebody responded to it. But without talking to you, I would say, I would want you to look at which is it that you really need. Is it clarity on what to post? Is it courage to actually hit post? Or is it that you really do need to feel confident first in order to start showing up on social media to promote your business? Because my guess is that if you were to stop asking yourself or holding yourself to this measure of I need to feel confident first, you're probably going to start promoting yourself more on social media, and then you'll feel confident because you proved to yourself you can do it. So that's why I'm doing that free challenge at the end of the month too, because at the end of the day, it's scary as fuck to hit post without people around you to help you should there be trolls on the other side. Because it's really scary to be vulnerable and not know what to do if somebody responds in a mean way. And so then we kind of stay quiet, we stay kind of hidden, right? We don't show up, we don't want to be seen, we don't want to be judged. And that's totally fair. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to hit post eventually, and you're going to need to have a support system around you to help you sustain through that, so that even when you know what to post and you're courageously posting, confidence comes and goes. Because if you experience those negative, like, people out there and you don't know how to handle it, it's easy to just stop posting again and then let your confidence kind of fade again and restart that cycle. But what I can tell you is that every time you restart the cycle of, well, what do I want to talk about? Okay, let me go be courageous and post it. And then you hit confidence again. You almost always have to restart back at the start of, well, what am I trying to post again? Let me go be confident, and then, or let me go be courageous and then feel confident. So I would encourage you to not ask for confidence of yourself yet, and instead ask yourself for courage. And if then you say, wait, courage to do what? Then my answer is you need more clarity on what you're actually trying to do.
Beautifully said.
That's the courage phase. Yes, it is. It is a long process. Yep. And the more that you courageously put yourself out there, the more feedback you get, and the less it's just you in your head, alone staring at a computer screen, and it's more an interactive process. So I have full faith that if you are on this journey of entrepreneurship and self-employment and you are committed to doing the scary stuff, it will get easier.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. I'm just going to keep rapid firing at you, Genesis.
Let's go.
Keep knocking them out of the park. Noah has a question. How do you get from constantly worrying about judgments, if you did, to where you are mentally now and having a secure belief of yourself?
I really wasn't trying to sell you guys on a bunch of shit, but I'm going to show you a thing that technically you could buy from me. This, can you see it?
Sustain your passion.
So I believe that at the root of entrepreneurship is self-love. And that's why my business, Sustain Your Passion, and the business model I teach is a self-love based business development model. What you asked there, Noah, is all a question of self-love. Secure belief of yourself comes from self-knowledge. Think about if you were trying to fall in love with someone, what would you want to do? You would want to know everything about them. You would want to talk to them. You would want to ask them questions. You would want to spend time with them. You would want to hear their stories. You would want to take them on dates. You would want to, do all the things that we do when we're falling in love, right? And from that would come so much knowledge about who that person is that then you get to decide, do I like it or not, right? But I don't know about you, but before I committed to doing my self-love habits every day, which is why I have this journal, it's a self-love habit journal for entrepreneurs. It is a daily commitment to myself to pause for 2 minutes and do mindfulness meditation. I'm going to tell you what's in the journal. So if you don't want to buy it, that's fine. Just do these things, okay? My daily self-love habits are 2 minutes of mindfulness meditation, turn off everything, hit 2 minutes on my timer, and sit and just listen to my own thoughts. Because just like if I was dating someone, I'd listen to their thoughts for 2 minutes. I'd want to know what's on their mind. I'd be curious about them. So first I get curious about myself and I give myself 2 minutes out of my day. And then I articulate 10 things I'm grateful for. And at least one of them has to be about me, which is like the most awkward fucking thing in the world, but like really important because again, figuring out who you are, articulating it is the act of developing secure belief of yourself and who you are and knowing yourself and appreciating it. So 2 minutes of mindfulness meditation, 10 gratitudes with at least one being about yourself. So like, I'm grateful for my drive. I'm grateful for my curly hair, whatever. And then I do a self-forgiveness activity every day. And this one is so fucking hard. But I ask myself, what do I need to offer myself forgiveness for today? And then I sit and I wait for an answer. And I'm not going to like lead us through this right now, but it is so good. Like I highly recommend y'all go do this today because it's eerie to see what comes up sometimes. We might articulate then the ways that we've been failing ourselves, the ways that we've been letting ourselves down, the ways that we've not been a good, secure partner for ourselves first in loving ourselves. And over time, and the reason why I like tracking it is over time, I'm a researcher at heart. Like I will go back and research what are the themes in which I'm judging myself for regularly that I then see show up in my self-forgiveness practice. And then I adjust what I'm doing to not feel so shitty about myself anymore. So like if I'm complaining, I'm writing a lot of self-forgiveness about staying up too late, I might then see that like, oh, I should probably work on prioritizing sleep. Just like if a partner was telling me over and over again, hey, I really want more time with you. I miss you. And I was neglecting that, that'd be a problem. So for me, it is an act of self-love to slow down and hear my thoughts, articulate what I'm grateful for in the world and about myself, and to figure out what I've been beating myself up for, especially as an anxious, overthinking, neurodivergent person. There's a lot of stories and things that I'm critical to myself about. And then over time, adjusting to not put myself in situations to disappoint myself or hurt myself, right? Because that is the confidence and the love that I think is required to go out and do courageous and scary things. And the constant worry, like the technical piece of it, the rumination of worrying about what other people are going to think comes down to keeping your mind busy. At the end of the day, the easiest thing there is literally task switch onto something more engaging when you feel yourself getting hooked by a thought like that. If you recognize, oh shit, I'm ruminating, which is why mindfulness meditation is really helpful because you're witnessing your thoughts more often. So when you recognize, fuck, I'm getting really like, I cannot stop thinking about that damn email or like that weird look that person gave me in that meeting. You can recognize you're doing it, name it, and then decide to do something else. Decide to take your attention from that and put it on something else. And again, back to my very first point, if you are deeply committed to your mission, it's really easy to see how caring what this, judgment from someone who wanted to be cruel is keeping you from doing the cool shit you're here to do. And the people that need you to focus more on this. And that jerk that was kind of mean becomes less important because you reposition what you want to focus on and what matters to you. Does that help, Noah? Cool. Nice.
Yeah. Amazing. One more from Emma over here. What about needing help or feeling like you ask too many questions?
Oh, I love that. What is too many? Who decides what too many questions is? And why did they get to decide and not you? Because to me, I'm a question asker for sure. And I have had managers that did not like that. And instead of saying, I'm asking too many questions, what I decided was, you're not a good enough manager. Because for me, it's really important to have clarity on things. And to me, that shows that I care a lot about the work I do and the outcomes I create and the impact I make. And if somebody's going to tell me that I'm asking too many questions or I need too much help to get it right, to me, that just means that we don't care enough about the mission in the same way. They don't care enough about serving our audience as well as I do, because that's why I'm asking questions. That's why I'm needing help to do it right. It's not because there's something wrong with me. It's because I give a lot of fucks about what we're doing. And so I want to do it right. And there is a way to do it better by asking questions and asking for help. And so to me, I would take that power back of where too many gets defined and encourage you to take up space and know that it's from a good place that you are asking questions and needing help. If you're feeling like you're receiving that feedback a lot, I would encourage you to do the self-forgiveness activity and then actually offer yourself forgiveness. So like I ask a lot of questions and that's okay, right? Give yourself an affirmation for in those moments, I need help to understand things, and that's because I care, and that's a good thing. Like actually teach yourself that the way you show up is aligned to your values so that you're less scared to show up as your authentic self. And then interpersonally with other people, explain to them, if given the opportunity and if the relationship is close enough and there's room for you to articulate like why you're asking questions and why you need help, explain to them like, I really care and I really want to do this right. That means I'm going to need a little bit more time to understand these things. And if the person you're interacting with doesn't want you to do as good of a job as you're trying to do, perhaps it's time to start reshifting that collaboration and renegotiating your commitment to that work with those people. Because I don't know about y'all, but like as a neurodivergent person, I don't have that much hours in a day to work. And when I work, I want it to be impactful. And if I'm not part of a team that also cares about being a high impact team, I'm going to burn out with that group real fast. And I need to go find a new group of people that also really care about doing a good job. And so to me, I don't think that there's such a thing as asking too many questions. And I love that you framed it as feeling like, because that means that chances are you don't think it's wrong either. Chances are you know it's a need for help and clarity and that asking questions is a good thing. And perhaps you need to either recenter that it's okay, or go have some conversations with folks about why you do that so that you stop getting feedback, negative feedback about your approach, which is hard.
Amazing.
Like I'm saying that as if
it's so hard.
It's really hard.
It's so hard. All this stuff, easier said than done. But I think that you've framed it like beautifully in a way that, you know, it really shows how important all of this inner work is when it comes to entrepreneurship and self-employment. I would love to tackle one more question, one of the pre-submitted questions before we wrap up here. Let's see. And it is, I am a graphic artist. I love making art, but I struggle with the business side of things. Do you have any advice?
Oh my God, so much advice. Okay, well, I'm guessing they're not here. Is that right, Veronica?
They may or may not be, but it has been previously submitted.
Okay. What I would want to know is what is the business side of things? Oftentimes people say like business, and they mean a specific part of business. So I would be curious, like, is it the administrative junk of like getting yourself registered with your state, getting, you know, any licensing you might need, like the boring blah, 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 like organizational stuff? Or are you actually saying that you struggle with marketing and sales? Because I'd be curious to know where within the business side of things are we struggling first? Because the first part is typically just clarity. People often don't know that you can literally just call up your cities, like their, oh my God, what's the name of it? Secretary of State is typically like, or Secretary of Business. It depends on where you're at, but like there is a human somewhere that you could call to get answers on all of your administrative questions about setting your business up legally in your state. And people don't always know that like they're really nice little old ladies typically that love helping people. Like give them a call. If we're talking more of the marketing and sales stuff, I would guess, especially as a graphic artist, you are literally offering your personal creations and your heart in a piece of work. Especially with something artistic and like creative like that, there is so much vulnerability in saying, I chose to put that line there and I can't fully articulate why. It looks nice to me. I like it. I think this looks good. You could probably come up with, oh, well, the golden rule and complementary colors and whatever, right? But at the end of the day, that takes you way fucking longer than just being like, I'm an experienced graphic designer and I think this looks nice. But that takes a level of confidence that is not always nurtured for new entrepreneurs when they go out and try and do things on their own. So I would really want to know what exactly we're struggling with. And then if it's the marketing and sales side, I would circle back to self-love habits and then getting clarity on who are you trying to help do what. So what is your graphic artist skills? Who are you trying to help with your graphic artist skills? Do you want to help small business owners? Do you want to help Fortune 500 companies? Do you want to help newlyweds that want really cute curated like invitations? Like, who exactly do you want to help with your skills? And what do you want to help them do, achieve, or become, or have? And then we'd probably look a little bit at like why to build up that confidence. And then we'd go out and say, okay, from there, here's our marketing plan. And then let's walk through that and help you be courageous and all those things that we talked about earlier. But the business side of things typically boils down to either like admin stuff that you're scared of just because you need more clarity on like how to do it, or marketing and sales stuff, which is all rooted in getting really clear on who you're helping do what. And then it becomes a lot more clear. So that would be the advice that I would start on. And then I would invite whoever submitted this question to follow up with me afterwards. And I'd be happy to dig into what the business side means to you and then offer more personalized advice.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Genesis, for your words of wisdom, your insights, and everything. I'm just going to slowly start to wrap up here. That's not the slide I was going for. Let's just keep going. Oh man, we had a lot of questions, but that's okay. If you want to speak with Genesis, she is offering a free business strategy call for anybody who wants to discuss their business idea. So I'm going to link it in the chat right now for anybody who is interested. So definitely send her a message if you're interested. Genesis, do you have anything you want to say about this?
I just would love to talk to anyone with a business idea. If you think that you're too early in entrepreneurship or self-employment, you're not. I'm the right person to talk to when you're in that phase. I love ideating and helping people articulate what they want to do. It's kind of my special thing. And so even if you're thinking maybe, but I don't know if I'm ready, you are. And don't let the questions I ask in the intake form scare you. It's okay to say, I don't know yet. And just know that the person you're experiencing here on this webinar is who's going to be holding space for you on that call. And if it's been helpful in any capacity, just know that getting personalized support will help you take that much more action as well. So I really hope to get to talk to you guys. Also, it's not a sales call, just in case anybody was worried about that. There's no sales.
Absolutely. And Emma has a quick question. Emma.
So how long are these business calls, or is it really more what you need, what the person needs?
Yeah, they're 45 minutes.
Okay.
Perfect. And I just wanted to mention a couple of things as if some of you have not seen it, our Facebook group, this is actually outdated. We recently passed 55,000 members. So it's a worldwide support group for neurodivergent professionals who are looking for, support, community, all that kind of stuff. So if you are on Facebook, be sure to join us there, and I will link it in the chat shortly. I also do want to mention that once again, I am the career coach behind Atypical Careers, and I do help neurodivergent professionals build sustainable work lives and break the neurodivergent burnout cycle. And if any of that resonates with you and you're on the fence about, whether or not to go for entrepreneurship or not, or you even know somebody who might benefit from something like this, it is a free training video, and it is an opportunity to really get to know how I will help you achieve those kinds of goals there. So definitely wanted to mention that. Otherwise, it's been a really great presentation. So I hope that you've all gotten some value out of Genesis's words of wisdom. I definitely think I've learned a couple of things on this session as well. So I just wanted to take another moment and say thank you, Genesis, for taking the time to share with our community your knowledge and everything like that. And if you have any final words, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Veronica, for creating this space. And you know, the idea of being neurodivergent in the world, let alone as a professional, 5-10 years ago wasn't something we talked about. And I'm just really grateful that you are creating this space and creating these opportunities for people to connect. In terms of anyone out there thinking about self-employment and entrepreneurship, the fact that you are already thinking about it means you are an entrepreneur. And if there's any identity fears around, can I be an entrepreneur? Can I really handle self-employment? You already have the spirit of it enough because you're here in this room and you're thinking about ideas and you're thinking about ways to create services or products that solve people's problems. And that is the root of being an entrepreneur. So I hope that all of you leave here a little bit more confident in your identity as entrepreneurs.
Amazing. Thank you again, everybody. And, you know, we will, and this recording will be going out in, you know, in the next week or so once I manage to get it up online and everything. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Genesis, or if you have any questions about my services, you can always reach out to me as well. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.